So I represent the law school. I am the dean. 1,000 students, some of whom will be working in the humanitarian sector as lawyers, legal experts, maybe directly or indirectly as magistrates. I do represent quite a number of organizations, the International Law School of Sciences Po in Paris, l'APSI, 1,600 students, and that provides master's courses concerning international diplomacy, environmental transition, and of course, humanitarian action. I'd like to point out that there is an incredible link with today's proceedings and our international law school. There are half of the students present who actually study at the APSIA. I come from a law school, as I have said. I am a tutor as well. I'd like to take a layman's approach to the subject that we'll be studying today. So from a legal point of view, and I'm sure that you can easily understand this, when there is an observer who is worried or tired, and we see this so much all over the world in the humanitarian sector. The word that I have to use is concerned, and concerned also by this violation of human rights. So if I want to be a little bit more subjective or even generational, the law experts of my generations, just so you know, I was 16 when the Berlin Wall came down. I was in Poland back then working on a humanitarian program. And this generation is sad that it has undergone a transition in our lives that has not had the impact that we were expecting. Today's world in which we live is nothing like what we were expecting. This is maybe a naive approach of mine, but we really thought that during our adult lives as citizens, since that moment, we thought that we would be accompanying progress based on values that were clearly incontestable. But they did not long last. And we see a succession of catastrophes, wars, climate change. All these things, of course, can create fear. And this obliges us to ask further questions of ourselves and of society. But we have to keep working hard to work out what we can do. So here at Sciences Po, what do we do? It is training students who, for a large number of them, will choose to work in humanitarian fields. We are creating expertise, specifically on how to manage crises, humanitarian transition as well, humanitarian law too. So training all these students of the humanitarian sector is something that we have done for a number of years. At APSIA as well, we also work a lot on this, maybe more so. For the Masters of Human Rights and Humanitarian Actions, I have noted that when I read the program of today's proceedings, there are 6 master students who will be intervening, looking at the humanitarian transition, looking through the prism of humanitarian aid. The idea is to look at the future of humanitarian action. Training students is a question of producing expertise, as I said. Changing paradigm or model is important. Interpreting the changes is important in order to give meaning to them. And this is what our researchers are doing, what our professors are doing as well in our schools. This has been going on for over 10 years now, thanks to the French, the Red Cross Foundation. And thanks to this considerable commitment into research, humanitarian and social research, enabling collaboration between the researchers and the humanitarian actors, and therefore to contribute further to building a real community, a community of experts, a community which is active, one which is based on humanitarian studies, a community of actors and people who act. Often they are former students who become researchers or stakeholders. It's a question of working together. And the slogan of our schools could be a path to follow, bringing together political, economic stakeholders, as well as students, as well as technicians and researchers, in order to put a highlight on the vulnerabilities around the world and to come up with solutions for the future, and to come up with principles for action. Many thanks for listening. Thank you also for reminding us of the importance of the path that we have taken. And this is what we try to do on a daily basis. Many thanks, and I look forward, wish you a very fruitful conference. Mr. Chairman, Jean-François Mattei, it's a real pleasure for me to be here today. President of the Red Cross of Burundi, professor of universities, president of the scientific committee, dear Virginie, ladies and gentlemen, and members of the administration board of the French Red Cross, Secretary General of the Red Cross and Red Crescent Federation. In his well-known book, Les Faux Monnayeurs by André Gide, he tells us the story of Bernard, who is a young man who gives up trying to discover his father's true identity. Why does he do this? Well, because, according to him, all research is necessary, and discovering his father's identity is just too heavy a burden for this young man. What the author is telling us in these few words is that research, the discovery of truth, entails a share of responsibility. For the Red Cross Foundation, this phrase has a powerful resonance. Why? Because research forces us to act on reality. So this means translating knowledge into action, turning figures into practice, moving from analysis to design, to put in place the 4 areas of the Red Cross, to create a scientific space only makes sense to us if, at the end of the day, it leads us to providing better care, better comfort, and better support. We are an action-oriented movement, and all our research has been designed with this in mind. That's why the foundation works with volunteers to address the issues faced by men and women in the field. That's also why the foundation is deployed in times of disaster and emergency to better deal with the immediate situation. Between 2020 and 2021, 11 research projects were supported about COVID. As of June 2022, a grant was allocated to study the issue of people fleeing Ukraine. These are researchers at the heart of unprecedented and shifting crises, adapting their practices and timeframes to gather data, collect testimonies, and enable us to see things a little more clearly. Making this link between the scientific approach and everyday life is indeed the commitment that we took 10 years ago. I would also say that research is ever more compelling when it comes to human beings. So these themes that we explore, whether they be epidemics, migratory waves, or natural disasters, they affect people at the most difficult of times. They tackle the very complexity of who we are, our inconsistencies, and of course, our vulnerabilities. Taking human beings as an object of study is not an innocent approach, because this means coming face to face with ourselves. It means being prepared to reconsider your certainties and your convictions. This means to study the dysfunctions, including our own dysfunctions. Also to unravel our own prejudices and to shed light on the mechanisms of domination and injustice. 10 years of commitment to research. This means 10 years of men and women confronting those who are vulnerable and most fragile. With a position that is specific to that of researcher, that's to say, someone who listens, someone who observes, and somebody who discusses and exchanges, I am firmly convinced that social science researchers have a singular responsibility. I say this with full knowledge of the facts as a doctor of social education. And this is why both the richness and the difficulty of studying human beings resides in this point. Finally, I would say that all research is compelling because it contains an element of the universal. Pasteur said, "Science has no homeland," and it's to bring this universalism to life that the Foundation has turned its attention to the international stage. In 2022, our research sites will be in Ivory Coast, Lebanon, three oceans as well, and that's to name just but a few, including overseas French territories. These partnerships all open up a whole world of possibilities, not only because they enable us to respond to new interdependencies, but also because they open up parallel avenues of dialogue between the North and the South that need to understand each other more than ever. So through this horizontal approach to research, it's the renewal of humanitarian action which is at stake. The Foundation has also chosen to become involved with the International Red Cross and Red Crescent movement. Through the RASSI consortium, research centers from every continent in our movement have come together. We are playing a leading role, convinced of the value of such collaboration within the world's largest humanitarian movement. Take, for example, the many members of the movement who are here today from Burundi, the United States, Kenya, and from the International Federation, to whom I extend my warmest greetings. 10 years on, this fantastic adventure in research still compels us to work for solidarity. 10 years of conferences, seminars, and roundtable discussions, exchanges, debates, and controversies in France and abroad. 10 years of building bridges and creating a community of researchers committed to humanitarian action. And so it is with a mixture of pride, enthusiasm, and great hope for the future that we celebrate a decade of research at the Red Cross. 10 years after the birth of this young organization, the challenges remain numerous. Today, the Foundation is inaugurating this new decade by reflecting on the accessibility and social utility of our results. Disseminating knowledge, both within the Red Cross and to the outside world, is a major challenge if we are to bring knowledge closer to the field. The time lag between action and research, this link with advocacy, the emergence of the scientific culture within an organization of over 100,000 volunteers. All these things take time and will require a collective commitment in the future. Finally, our partnerships abroad are being put to the test by the deteriorating international context. But in order to face this, we are not alone. I would particularly like to thank Sciences Po and the School of International Affairs, as well as the Research Institute for Development. Your support is a mark of recognition for the work of the foundation, but also a strong testimony to the friendship that unites us. I would also like to pay tribute to our many partners here present in the room, or also on the Zoom link, all our many partners who have helped accompany us, to give support, and that this is a real show of the support that you have shown for our movement. So finally, I would like to pay tribute to Professor Mr. Mattei, who was my predecessor, who was able to give momentum and vision to the research for new solidarity. To the teams of the foundation, to the researchers, to the men and women who have clearly invested their time and energy to, how I would say, to help us see a little more clearly, a little less blurred, and over the last 10 years, a little further ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. We will remain in our Red Cross and Red Crescent family. We have a bit more than 170 national societies working together within the Federation, based at the headquarters in Geneva. We will call Christopher RASSI, Chief of Staff and Director, at the Office of the Secretary General, to be joining us today, and we warmly thank him for being here. Mr. Da Costa, Ma'am Burundi Red Cross President, it's a great pleasure for me to join you here, getting together with so many friends and colleagues in France here at the headquarters in Paris. It's a great opportunity for us to be together for the 10th anniversary of the foundation and 10th anniversary of the research activity. I'm very happy to speak on behalf of the Secretary General as a building block of the foundation. But also I'm very happy to be here at the Sciences Po School. I was actually studying in Strasbourg, not in Paris, but I was part of the Sciences Po family, so it's a great honor for me to be here as well. Since its creation, the foundation has fostered research and innovation on humanitarian and social issues to reduce vulnerability, exclusion and poverty, and has supported more than 110 high social impact in France. In this world, which has been marked by unprecedented crises, let's mention the Middle East conflict, Ukraine war, COVID-19 pandemics, and the looming threat of climate change. The international humanitarian sector has faced great challenges over the last 10 years. These crises have forced the IFRC and the 191 members to reflect on our ecosystem, to adapt and to improve our approaches to humanitarian work. The role of academic research in humanitarian work has never been more significant than it is today. The International Federation is a proud collaborator of both the French Red Cross and the Foundation. The development and the launch in 2019, thanks to this collaboration between IFRC, RCRC, and the Foundation, led to the creation of the Red Cross Red Crescent Consortium, RC3, which is a tangible representation of how we would like to integrate academic research, science, and technical expertise to better support national societies in order to scale up and amplify their humanitarian work. In 2023, this consortium organized the first ever event, which was led online, Long Night of Research, which was held as an interactive workshop dedicated to exploring how research and collaboration can make a difference to the Red Cross and Red Crescent movement volunteering practices. The role of volunteering in our humanitarian network and the search for scientific research to foster our approach highlights one very important aspect: the authentic inclusion of youth when it comes to solution finding. The energy, creativity, and dedication of young people are essential to drive our sector forward. Engaging scientific research and fostering environments where fresh ideas are encouraged will empower youth to design, develop, and implement groundbreaking initiatives in order to make humanitarian assistance more ethical, inclusive, and vibrant. Since the 2000s, the IFRC and the national societies have embarked on an ambitious journey at the global, regional, and national levels by creating research centers dedicated to fostering expertise, deepening knowledge, and championing research. These centers have had a transformational role in shaping our humanitarian action and ecosystem. They are bridges that connect the expertise of academics with the dedication of humanitarian practitioners and operators. They are also a source of innovation and creativity and inclusivity that empowers us to better serve communities that are affected by crisis. Research led by scientific method is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Research provides the knowledge base that is necessary to take action. Let's take, for instance, the COVID-19 crisis. Academic research in virology and epidemiology played an essential role in understanding the virus, designing vaccines, and guiding public health interventions. The critical link between academic research and humanitarian sector is embodied by the millions of Red Cross and Red Crescent volunteers and has saved countless lives. Secondly, academic research enables us to respond to crises with a focus on sustainability. We know climate change is an existential threat, and by leveraging research on renewable energy and sustainable agriculture, we can build more resilient communities and reduce long-term impact of disasters. Third aspect is research facilitates the dissemination of best practices in our humanitarian sector. By incorporating academic insights, we ensure that the humanitarian assistance is not only effective, but also ethical and inclusive when it comes to issues like gender-based violence, protection of human rights, and protection of marginalized groups. The union of academic research and humanitarian work is powerful. It allows us to tackle the most pressing global challenges and to adapt to ever-changing crises. For the International Federation, research is a key to creating a future where humanitarian efforts are not only a response to crisis, but a proactive lever for positive changes. It is the blueprint for a world where suffering is alleviated and hope is restored. So I wish you all a productive and fruitful and engaging conference over the next few days. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. RASSI. This annual meeting is held in Paris, and we have been organizing since 2014 in cooperation with the RARD, the Research Institution for Development, and the RARD President Valérie couldn't be here today, so she wanted to share with us her message and this is why she recorded her speech. So I would like to ask the technical team if we can display the speech from Ms. Valérie Verdier. Mr. Chairman and President of the French Red Cross and the French Croix-Rouge Foundation, Chief of Staff and Director of the Office of the General Secretary and of the International Federation, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, it's a great pleasure for me to open on behalf of the RAD, the National Research Institute for Sustainable Development, and alongside our partners, this international conference celebrating the 10th anniversary of the foundation. We are delighted to be associated with their actions, combining humanitarian commitment and research. I'm delighted to see the contributions of our research community. Since its creation nearly 80 years ago, the IRD has made science a lever for development, contributing to the 2030 agenda and to the Sustainable Development Goals. The IRD is a long-standing partner of the French Red Cross Fund, which is now named French Red Cross Foundation. Indeed, our two institutions share common objectives, supporting research among French-speaking community, promoting knowledge, and strengthen scientific communities to develop necessary knowledge and expertise on social and environment issues, as well as health issues, in order to propose solutions and inform local and international decision makers. This partnership has been punctuated by scientific initiatives, including the co-financing of post-PhD fellowships, focusing specifically on humanitarian transitions, as well as the co-organization of the International Annual Conference. Targeted topics included humanitarian stakeholders in Côte d'Ivoire, dynamics of the humanitarian sector in Madagascar, and challenges and practices related to community participation in Casamance province, Senegal. However, the list is far too long to be detailed here. Our partnership has helped to better understand the emergence of humanitarian crisis as well as to lead discussions on transitions, while focusing on improving practices and building the capacity of actors in the field. Together, we have been able to offer appropriate responses through a French-English collection of works called Devenir Humanitaire, published by Cartela Publishing House. This collection of publications brings together a variety of concrete transition opportunities developed by researchers and operational teams in regions like Lebanon, Madagascar, Côte d'Ivoire, Cameroon, or Senegal. Since 2013, working on the theme of humanitarian transition, more than 60 French-speaking researchers have received support, and the IRD supported 9 of them. The Red Cross Foundation's awards have nominated 3 of our RID researchers, among which Michel Agier in 2022 for his anthropological work on displacements. Our relationship has been further strengthened since 2017 as the IRD was invited to sit at the Foundation Board of Directors. Also, since 2022, infectiologist Eric Delaporte, who is the director of the RRD Health Development, is the chairman of the Foundation Scientific Committee. He will be speaking at the end of this conference today. We can look to the future in light of a decade of fruitful collaborations. And today we are celebrating 10 years of commitment to research dedicated to humanitarian issues in France and on the international scale. We also acknowledge your support to science philanthropy as a powerful lever for development in international solidarity. Your commitment to research in the humanities and social science fields is a great source of inspiration, and I look forward to working on future collaboration with our knowledge and expertise-based communities. These communities are a number of 9, addressing different issues like climate, biodiversity, migration, sustainable food systems, or One Health. These communities rely on an innovative cross-disciplinary think tank format based on sustainability sciences, bringing together researchers and citizens The issues addressed are all linked to health issues. I also would like to congratulate the Foundation for its recent achievements, while the last few years have unfortunately been marked by humanitarian crises around the world. In an increasingly restrictive and difficult context, you have been able to find appropriate resources to develop concrete projects. We can all appreciate the expertise of the French Red Cross Foundation, and we are all here to share and capitalize on this expertise. Time is short to achieve the SDGs, in particular the number 3, enhancing healthy lives and well-being. We should keep on investing in research, promoting science philanthropy, and collaborating to overcome the complex challenges ahead. Our partnership will hopefully continue to play an essential role in this matter. Thank you all.
Notre partenariat continuera, je l'espère, à jouer un rôle essentiel dans cet objectif. Je vous remercie.
So let's get stuck in with a few pictures here at Science Po to bring together all of our researchers of the Foundation. So a quick video to look at.
Ici à Sciences Po, toute la communauté de chercheurs de la Fondation.